Welcome to the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, where it is never too early for fantasy football. My name is Jeff.
And I'm Alex.
And I'm Jerome.
As always, thank you for downloading, listening, liking, and commenting on our podcast videos. Please join our community by subscribing to us on the socials. Our handle on all platforms is at N2E Fantasy. We are also available on all major podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy. Alex, what do we have on today's show?
On this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, we are recapping all Week 7 action. We are also getting you ready for Week 8. But first, here's the latest news around the league brought to you by Jeff.
All right. So the first bit of news here is a guy that we've been talking about forever, it feels like. And it's the Titans wide receiver Tyler Lockett. He asked for and was granted his release. So he is officially a free agent. And as of recording the podcast, he has not signed with anybody just yet. Alex or Jerome, who do you believe are good fits for Tyler Lockett here?
I'll let you go first, Jerome.
Washington Commanders. And I think they're hurting bad at wide receiver. And I think a veteran there makes sense.
Yeah, I think that is probably a good spot. I think we can think of another team, too. Jeff always says the Atlanta Falcons could do with another wide receiver, and they just cut one.
Ray McLeod. Never saw what was so special about him, but it does appear that he was a distraction of some sort, and they decided to just cut bait with him right now. So there is that. But Tyler Lockett there would be really nice. But Jerome, as you were mentioning, Titans receiver to the Commanders, that's already happened this week. Whereas Treylon Burks signed with the Washington Commanders practice squad. Do we believe that that is a fit, a good fit for him? Because I believe that he would be a good deep ball receiver.
I think Noah Brown is on IR now, I think. So Burks could be a good developmental or low risk, high reward type wide receiver. They need the bodies, but I would rather trust in Luke McCaffrey going forward than Burks at this point in his career.
Yeah, I don't see Burks getting off the practice squad. I think he stays there. I just think he doesn't have it.
We will see. He's a former first-round talent. His biggest concern has been injury. From what I remember of his highlights, they usually are deep passes, and that is a strength of Jaden Daniels. So I think he picked a great spot to rehab his career, the best possible spot to rehab his career, which is what you asked for right here.
I hope he gets it turned around, but I'm not counting on it.
Not holding your breath?
Not holding my breath.
All right, we ready to hop into some Week 7 recap?
Let's do it.
Where we had the Ravens and the Bills on bye this week, so getting some bye weeks out of the way right now. And Week 8, when we talk about bye weeks, there's plenty of bye weeks to go around in Week 8. But we got kicked off with the Steelers at the Bengals. All three of us picked the Steelers, and the Steelers lost. Sorry, Jerome, on this one here, but the Bengals win a close one in the last minute, 33-31. It does feel like the Steelers lost this game more than the Bengals won it. And my examples of this are DK's drop, which turned into an INT, and then Rodgers deciding to go deep and throwing an interception as well. And I believe there was a tush-push false start that should have been 4th and 1 and a first down. Instead, they did not get the first down. But what was crazy in this game is Rodgers and Flacco combined for 7 passing touchdowns. The old men stayed up late and they put on a little bit of a show. But it was Jalen Warren that ran all over the terrible Bengals defense, 127 total yards. Freiermuth finally shows up in a big way, and Alex, you're welcome, because I did alert you that he was a cut in a league. Of course, the first week you have him, he goes for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Flacco makes Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins all must starts right now, which I will eat some crow over saying I didn't believe Flacco was going to make them relevant again.
Yeah, I thought he was a marginal improvement over Browning, and I did think he still has a little bit of a big arm, which Browning does not. But I did not expect it to be this good this quickly. And he does make Chase Brown finally usable, which is great news for fantasy owners. But I should have known better than to pick the Steelers on a short week because Tomlin cannot win those. But Jerome, this is your matchup. Tell us how you feel.
You know, Fryermuth had one catch that was a 68-yard touchdown. So I do feel like otherwise his day would have been like 4 for 50 and a touchdown, which is more where I think his ceiling is. I mean, that other touchdown really just came over the top. Otherwise, I don't know. I feel like the Steeler defense is really just making other quarterbacks look great, the same way that the Dolphins defense made Kamani Vidal look fantastic in week 4. No, week 5. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's more the Steeler D than it is Flacco, though Flacco deserves his credit. I think Flacco's way better than Browning, and I think Flacco's definitely going to make the supporting cast have a higher floor for sure.
Yeah.
Do you
And
think he
I
stays
do think
healthy?
he could. He could.
I don't
Maybe.
know. I mean, it's quick passes. I mean, he could stay upright. It could be the Big Ben, playbook with quick passes, maybe. But so far, it's working.
I
Don't
think when it
disagree.
comes to Freiermuth, they actually used him as a wide receiver instead of as a tight end for a lot of this game too, playing from behind at one point. So I do think he probably will never put up the stat line again this year, but we're gonna be guessing each week which of the 4 tight ends is gonna put up production, whether it's Haywood, Freiermuth, Washington, or Jonnu Smith.
We'll see. All right. Anything else on this matchup here? Any notes that I missed?
No, I think we covered it.
All right, let's hop over to our last London game. I think I incorrectly said this was our last international game of the year. This is actually our last London game of the year. We have a few more in a couple of weeks. But it was the Rams at the Jaguars. You guys picked the Rams, and I picked the Jaguars. You guys were right, so congratulations, Jerome and Alex, on that one. Stafford and the Rams dominate 37. The Rams did go with an interesting strategy of flying in the night before the game. So they were barely there 24 hours and home. This was literally a business trip to London for them. And I think this was one of the more dominating London performances ever by any team. And 5 touchdowns by Stafford on a Puka-less day. And 3 of those touchdowns were to Devontae Adams, and there were goal line touchdowns that should have probably have went to Kyron Williams, but they did not. Trevor Lawrence has a very up and down day in London, and Travis Hunter has 100 yards and a touchdown. So is this his coming out party? Alex?
I don't think so because this was garbage time that they're coming from behind, and Brian Thomas Jr. kept dropping the ball, but they did say they're going to try to switch. I don't know why any coach would say this so far in advance, but Cohen did say that after their bye week, they're going to switch to more 11 formations, which means more 3 wide receiver sets. I don't know why you give opponents the chance to prepare for that ahead of time, but I do think he's going to get a little bit of an uptick. I don't know if you'll be able to count on this level production, but I never really thought the Jaguars were that good of a team. They're 4-3 right now. I think that's going to start declining. And Rams, I think, are the best team in their division. I've maintained that. I think they're better than the 49ers. I think they're going to win the NFC West. It's hard for me to trust any of the options on the Jaguars. But when it comes to the Rams, we know Matthew Stafford's going to pepper whoever his number 1 target is. And that came true when it came to Devontae Adams this week.
You mentioned the short touchdowns for Stafford. I mean, he only threw for 180 yards this game. So I thought the 5 touchdowns was a little of a fugazi. But, BTJ, I mean, I think BTJ is just, he's not it. I mean, I really don't think he's it. I feel like he got crowned way too early after a good second half of the season last year. And he was crowned this like top 5 dynasty wideout. And I never believed in it. And so far, it's coming true. I mean, he was above Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, he was just being ranked above guys that I just wasn't buying it. Ironically enough, BTJ is the wide receiver 32 so far this season. Travis Hunter is the wide receiver 40 so far this season. They've each had like one big game and then a bunch of stinkers otherwise. So I would not be surprised if the Jaguars realize that maybe they need to use Hunter a little bit more and BTJ a little bit less.
I think BTJ is going through something. I think his wrist injury is still affecting him, and I think Trevor Lawrence is not a good quarterback in this league. So those are factors as well, but he's definitely struggling. There's several wide receivers that are struggling this year that should be doing better.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. But I will say Matthew Stafford does not get paid by the yard. Just go back to your comment that of 180 yards. So good day at the office.
Is it Arena Football Leagues like it was for Kurt Warner? He gets paid by the touchdown?
Hey, he had touchdown, 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 and get out of there. They didn't even stay to sightsee or celebrate or anything. They were like, peace.
Mm.
And if I'm not mistaken, they head right into the bye. So maybe if you guys stayed behind and sightseed, and who knows. Good way to head into the bye.
There's 6 teams on bye in week 8.
Yep.
Oh, it's
Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Well, I think we learned from this week not to pick the team that starts with a J because the next matchup here is Panthers at Jets. I was the lone wolf going for the Jets. Well, I wasn't really going for them, but I picked the Jets. And they lost to the Panthers at home. You guys both picked the Panthers. You guys got it right. Even though Bryce Young got hurt, they still pulled out the victory.
Absolutely. High ankle sprain for Bryce Young, so he's going to miss at least 1 to 2 weeks. And Panthers get their first winning record in years and their first win on the road. But the biggest story coming out of this from the Panthers side was Dowdle versus Hubbard. And it looked like a pretty even split. I think actually Hubbard out-snapped him by like 4%. But Dowdle has the better day, and it's not even a question. And so we'll see if that continues going forward. But Dowdle has a lot of gas left in the tank, it looks like. Did the Cowboys give up on him too early? Speaking of giving up on too early, though, did I give up on Xavier Legette too early in Dynasty Leagues? Because I cut him earlier this season, and he appears to be going off right now. I think it was like 80-some yards and a touchdown in this one. But not to segue over to the Jets here, but Fields benched here, and the Jets have given up on Fields, or at least seemingly. They haven't officially announced a quarterback just yet, but if you can read the tea leaves of the owner and the coach, a change to Tyrod Taylor is coming.
I think it needs to happen. I think that there's a bunch of new QBs coming off the bench that I think are going to open up the offense for each one of those teams. I think Flacco's going to do it. Jacoby Brissett's going to do it for Arizona. I think Tyrod can do it for the Jets. I think Dalton can do it for the Panthers. And I think Wentz could do it for the Vikings. But yeah, Hubbard, I think Hubbard's still coming back from the injury. I do think he takes over at some point. Legette had 11 targets, 9 catches, 92 yards. I mean, I don't know if that was the Dalton factor. I didn't see where the targets, where the catches came from with who at QB, but I wouldn't be surprised if the bulk of that came after Dalton got in the game and started slinging it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think the Jets need to see what the offense is with Tyrod just to see if it's any better. Is it the system? Is it the supporting cast? Is it just the quarterback? My suspicion is he'll be mildly better than Fields, but the offense is still going to struggle. Hopefully they lean more on Breece Hall, but they haven't utilized him as I thought that they would more in the past game. But when it comes to the Panthers rushing, I do think Dottle the last couple weeks has definitely looked really good. Hubbard doesn't look 100% healthy and spry. I do think they're going to try to do as close to a 50-50 split as possible, but maybe move more to like a 55% for Dottle until Hubbard is running well.
One last thing on Fields that I noticed. In his 6 games, he's had 3 games against bad QBs and or bad defenses, and he's had 3 games against good defenses. Against the bad defenses, he's averaged over 28 fantasy points per game. Against the 3 good defenses, he's averaged less than 5 fantasy points per game. So he's definitely shown up when he could take advantage of a bad D, and the good defenses have swallowed him up.
I don't disagree with anything that was said there. And Dalton will have quite the test next week. And obviously, we have 2 quarterback changes in this one. So 1 by injury and 1 by performance. All right. Anything else on the Jets or the Panthers?
I do think Leggett got most of his yardage from Dalton, but he did get the touchdown from Bryce. So it's kind of split.
He's starting to heat up, though. The last few weeks, it feels like. But, all right. Let's hop over to a game here that there isn't much to say about one team because they got blanked 31-0. The Chiefs beat the Raiders. All 3 of us picked the Chiefs, and we all were correct on this one. Geno Smith throws for 67 yards in a shutout. And Alex, at the end of this, I want to hear what you think about sticking with Smith or potentially moving to either Pickett or O'Connell. But Genty in this one wasn't much better with 21 rushing yards. Couldn't get anything going in this entire game. Mahomes plays less than 3 quarters with the shutout. And Pacheco appears to have a better day, and it seems like a rebound is coming. I don't know if you watched him run at all in this game, but it felt really nice to watch him run. And I don't know if having Rashee Rice scoring 2 touchdowns in his return was a catalyst of that, but the Chiefs' offense appeared to be clicking again, and Mahomes has to be mentioned in the MVP conversation again as well.
I think they already should have moved off Geno Smith. I don't know why he's still in at this point. He hasn't carried over the magic from Seattle. Everybody, it doesn't seem like it's working, even though Pete Carroll was a big name, Chip Kelly was a big name. They should have been rolling a lot sooner. Geno's not cutting it. The whole offense for the Raiders only had 30 total plays. So they ran less plays than the Chiefs put up points. Cincy only had 6 rushes, 7 total touches, and he would have been, if he had a full workload, if he had the same number of rushes as last week, he probably would have ended up with 100 yards. So I'm not going to put it on Cincy at all, especially when the quarterback was averaging, only 6 yards per completion and couldn't get any first downs at all. So the Raiders are a complete mess, and the Chiefs are definitely starting to roll and probably work their way back up towards the top of the AFC again.
I'm not ready to write off Las Vegas just yet. They don't have Jacoby Myers. They don't have Brock Bowers. I think that's going to help make that offense more balanced when they get back. Kenny Pickett, he fumbled on his first snap. I don't think he's the answer. I think they stick with Geno. Genty, even with the 21 yards, he's still an RB1 in fantasy going into the bye week. Mahomes, on the other side, Mahomes, he's the QB1 so far this year. He's got it back after being QB11 last year. And Rashee Rice had 10 targets in only 41% of the snaps. Sky's the limit for him in this offense. I think he's going to take over not all those targets that Kelsey got, but I think you're going to start to see the shift in that part of the field. I think it's going to be more Rashee Rice and less Kelsey.
Yeah. Well, I also think it's important to note that Worthy's still playing through a shoulder injury. I think that's clearly been affecting him. So now that Rice is back, they're going to give him, like you said, every little bit of target share that he can handle. I do think it'll even out as Worthy gets healthy again, but I mean, I want both of them if I'm able to. And I think Juju Smith-Schuster and Hollywood Brown are going to really decline now that Rice are back.
Fortunately, Hollywood got a touchdown in this one too, so not quite there yet. And they're trying to still incorporate Thornton into the game plan a little bit. They just have a lot of mouths to feed now. It feels like they kind of popped up out of nowhere.
Thornton is the new MVS. He just gets a random deep ball.
I feel like he's more reliable than MVS, but I understand what you're saying.
Well, MVS was pretty solid when it came to Kansas City. And that's a lot on Mahomes as well. But yes, Thornton looks in his element in Kansas City compared to when he was in New England.
Well, quarterback upgrade is a big deal.
Well, as we're learning, it's not that much of an upgrade because his former quarterback is good now.
Yeah, just needed the right coach. All right. Anything else on the Chiefs or the Raiders here? Because this was kind of one of the more boring games.
Yeah, that's enough for this one. We can move on to the Brown Bowl, and that is the Dolphins at the Cleveland Browns. We all picked the Browns. Browns won pretty handedly.
They sure did. It was a 31-6 game where Tua actually got benched for Quinn Ewers, and I thought maybe it was time for Ewers, but it looks like they're going to stick with Tua another week, which I think is a mistake. But it is interesting that Achan remains safe, even though that the offense is led by Tua, and Judkins has quite the day with 3 rushing touchdowns. Jerome, no one's ever given you any flack about drafting Judkins in a dynasty league, right?
No.
You should say no one ever gave you flack about it and then immediately drafted him in a different draft following that too.
When you have the answers, I change the questions.
That never happened. I knew I was right the whole time. I knew Judkins was going to be a stud. I mean, you know.
Until he's suspended in the playoffs because that hasn't been ruled on at all yet.
Jeff owes me for that pick. He owes me for all of his good picks. He owes me for Javonte. He owes me for Judkins. I mean,
I'll send you a case of beer.
I'm one of the few people out there that put Judkins over Henderson. I liked Judkins that much watching his college game film. I watched a lot of the Ohio State games because they had some good prospects, and he just looked better than Henderson. Henderson had some flash, but he's just a good, solid runner. I love Judkins as a rusher, as a running back.
It didn't help Judkins in the preseason when Henderson takes his first touch, kick return to the house for a touchdown, and Judkins is in trouble. But now, what Henderson play? 1 snap this week or something like that? So it's quite the turn of events.
He can't even play against the Titans? Titans?
As for this game, I mean, I think McDaniel's going to be fired before the end of the season. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. I like McDaniel. I'm a McDaniel guy since he was with the Niners, but I don't know. It's just not working, and I don't think Tua's gonna leave. So I think it's gonna have to be McDaniel that leaves. I don't think Ewers is coming in. I think Waller got hurt, which hurt, and big surprise with Waller. But he's been so good.
I'm so glad Jerome's on the podcast.
Waller has largely only been a red zone target. He's done almost nothing else besides just be a red zone target. That's it.
I mean, 73 yards and a touchdown last game.
Oh, I thought you said 73 yards total on the season. I've been like, yeah, that sounds about right.
No, against the Panthers, he had 73 yards and a touchdown.
Anyone can do that against the Panthers. I could do that against the Panthers. Are you kidding me? But no, Waller, no.
Justin Fields couldn't do that.
He's not good. Waller is the Justin Fields of tight ends, okay? Except much older and has a very poor music career. but
much bigger bank account.
well, I mean, I thought he was broke, and that's why he was coming back to the league to get a paycheck. More money comes more problems, and he spends all his money. So, no, I don't know. I don't know if you guys knew this, but McDaniel used to work for the Texans, and he got fired for drinking on the job before he moved to join other coaching staffs. I'm not a big McDaniel fan. I will cede he could be a good offensive coordinator to a team that has a strong defensive head coach. I don't think he has any kind of discipline to him. I think he lets the players do whatever they want and walk all over him. And I think that shows in how Miami's playing right now. And continuous reports about how the locker room's divided and no one's playing together. They're not showing up to meetings. They're not showing up to players only meetings. No one takes anything seriously. And I think that's squarely on McDaniel. So I don't think he's head coach material. And he looks so beaten down and he's lost the locker room. I think you just got to put him out of his misery and just fire him. And then turn to the next guy there who I think their offensive coordinator Smith was previously a hot target for a potential head coaching job. See what he can do, if he can salvage the team. I don't think Ewers is ready to start in the NFL. I would go with Zach Wilson. I don't know why they're not, because if you're not, why is he even on the team? I would like to see Malik Washington get involved more. I would like to see Westbrook and Keeney get involved more, especially with Waller being out. I think Keeney should be the guy you start to bring in for the red zone and short yardage role. Waddle, I hope he gets healthy because I think he got banged up in this game. But they have pieces. They just don't have the substance, I guess.
That they do, but the Browns have a lot of pieces too. I like Judkins. I like Fannin. I like Isaiah Bond. I don't think that there's a quarterback that can actually conduct the offense just yet. And I think that's hindering some of the playmakers right now. Obviously, I like Njoku, but he didn't play in this game.
They're missing their best wide receiver, Cedric Tillman.
But Malachi Corley joined the team.
He's not the same. I don't think Jerry Jeudy is a good wide receiver. I
What
think
about your
he's
boy
just a guy.
Malachi?
I think Tillman was the only half decent wide receiver on the team.
You don't think Bond could be?
I think Bond is a third wide receiver. I think he's a wide receiver 3, comes in on 11 formations. I don't think he can really play in 2 wide receiver sets. I don't know, Jeudy is a good number 2, maybe, but so is Tillman. They don't have a true number 1, and I think Njoku's time is coming to an end here because I think Bannon will take over.
Yeah, I mean, they could always run 2 tight end sets, especially with a shorter quarterback. I mean, that would really help to have tall guys in the middle of the field for them. Right. Well, the Browns really didn't. I mean, not the Browns, but other than Judkins, the Browns didn't really do much on offense. They didn't have to. The weather was pretty terrible. And it's not like Dylan Gabriel had a good game here. So.
Well, I love Judkins, but I don't know why he had to carry 25 times himself. Why Sampson doesn't get involved more? Why Ford doesn't get involved more?
They don't like him.
I mean, I like Judkins. I don't want to burn him out unless they're expecting him to get suspended and they're trying to burn him out earlier. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what the thought is, but I know they're not playoff bound, so they're thinking that he's going to have 8 months off after the beginning of January.
Well, I think you should give Judkins 18 carries, and I think the other guys should split the rest.
Absolutely. They need a quarterback, though. Where's Joe Flacco when you need him?
To a division rival.
Hysterical. All right. We spent enough time on likely top 5 pick teams, the Browns and the Dolphins, and we can hop over to the Patriots and another top 5 pick team, the Titans here. All 3 of us picked the Patriots. The Patriots won 31-13, but the Titans did have a mini spark to start the game where they had the Patriots on their toes a little bit to begin the game, and Ward showed some good things. to begin the game. But the Titans did abandon the run. They had 11 combined running back rushes, which is never a good thing, especially with a young quarterback. The surprise here was Io Manor wasn't involved as much as DK was, and I didn't expect a breakout here, but he could be a waiver wire pickup if he's chilling on people's waiver wire. I know last week in a dynasty league, I had Emmanuel Wilson poached from me, and that required me to move him up to my main roster, and then I threw DK on my practice squad. So he's a guy that I would watch out for the second half of the year. But on the Patriots side, it was nice to see Diggs reclaim his crown as the top wide receiver. And Booty looked just as good as a number 2 here. So the order does feel like it is being established somewhat in New England, which is one of my wishes for Drake May, is to establish like a pecking order of wide receivers. Helps us fantasy players out a lot, and I know that's his primary goal in life, is to help us fantasy players out. So just want to make sure that Drake May is keeping that front of mind. And Stevenson here, a little bit of a surprise, took control of the New England backfield. What do we think about Trey Henderson going forward?
Well, I think in redrafts he's a deep stash or waiver wire fodder until he breaks out. I think he will at some point. I don't understand the insistence with Stevenson, and I don't understand giving him the lion's share of the carries. I don't know why Jennings was involved at all. So I think Vrabel's just being stubborn. I think Vrabel's one of those coaches that hates rookies. I think it's pretty clear. He also wasted some of Derrick Henry's early career trying to rotate him with veteran running back that wasn't that great either. So typical Vrabel. I mean, other defensive coordinators do the same exact thing. Defensive coaches. You think the Patriots receiving core is settling in with Diggs and Booty as the top 2, Henry also as a good receiving option at the tight end position, and then I think Pop Douglas is third. Really think it's those 4 guys going forward. The Titans, I'm not going. I'm not. I'm not in on DK. Like I'll let someone else go after him. He's a deep threat, in my opinion. He's not a technically good wide receiver. I don't think he's that good of a route runner or possession guy. I think this was kind of a fluky week for a team that kind of got down and got destroyed by New England.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in the Titans offense whatsoever. I would not be going after DK personally. You know, the wide receivers for the Patriots, I find interesting. You know, the pecking order seems to be set as far as targets are concerned, but Booty is out snapping Diggs, and has 4 touchdowns on the season to Diggs' 0. And Booty is the wide receiver 25 in fantasy, and Diggs is wide receiver 29. While everything, kind of points to Diggs being the one, the scoring is Booty right now. So, I mean, maybe that'll balance out, but right now, I mean, it kind of, Booty's like a wild card. I mean, he only had 2 catches this game, right? So, I mean, it's hard to start a guy with 2 catches and you're just hoping like one's a touchdown. From that perspective, Diggs makes sense, but Booty's outscoring Diggs.
So, are you saying this is Jerome's first booty call?
No, I'm still going with Diggs.
He'll go on the boat with the pink stuff instead.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure
Diggs
it's pink lemonade. It's pink lemonade.
Diggs is having Cardi B. I mean, Cardi B is having Diggs' baby, right?
Or Diggs is having Cardi B's baby, one or the other.
I heard conflicting things. I heard 1, that they were breaking up, and 2, they're still together. And I'm like, okay, I don't care, but I still like, are you together?
You're in the tea and the drama, I see.
Why would you want to get tied to that woman? Like, come on, man. It's like any professional sports player that gets associated with the Kardashians. Why, dude? Like, why?
Build a brand. All right. Before we go down our reality TV show trash segment, let's move on to the Saints at the Bears. The three of us here picked the Bears. The Bears won 26-14. Unfortunately, Kendre Miller here tears his ACL, will be out for the rest of the season. So that renders Kamara the lead back almost exclusively now until Neal gets more involved. But Kamara was relatively ineffective in his absence. But Chris Olave did have a 2-touchdown day. And it appears either an extension, which the Saints said they are working on, or a trade is incoming for Olave. But the Bears here, not like Kamara and Miller, but the Bears get their run game going where both Monangai and Swift have great days. And is this a light version of Gibbs and Montgomery here?
I think it is. And I think this was Monungai's best game all season. He actually looked good and looked like some of the hype in the offseason. Swift built on last week's really good performance as well. Not much for the passing game for really either team, although, like you said, Olave looked good. I don't know if it's better for fantasy if Olave gets traded at this point because he's by far the number one guy, and Rattler is slinging him the ball. Rattler, I think his job is safe another week because I thought, yes, he had a bad turnover, but overall, I still think he's playing well. It doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, but when you watch him play, like he's giving it all he's got, and I wish CJ Stroud played with half that mentality, to be honest with you. I think if they switch places at this point this season, I think Texans would be winning games.
Big of you to admit.
Stroud is just Mr. Pouty Face, Mr. Sad Pouty Face all the time, and it's driving me crazy.
You know, the Bears were up 20 to nothing in this game and then let the Saints back in. I thought that was interesting. They didn't keep their foot on the gas, but Rattler ended up with the 3 interceptions and just, the comeback just ended. Kendry ACL, that was disappointing. I mean, I was really hoping something would maybe happen there. Kamara trade, maybe Kendry takes over, but that's long gone. And Kamara didn't want to get traded anyway. He seemed to be trying to talk everybody out of it. Yeah, so, it seems like that's going to continue on now that Miller's hurt. As for the Bears, I mean, Ben Johnson, I mean, he beefed up this offensive line in the offseason and in the draft. And it really seems to be showing off in the run game right now. I mean, Swift is running hard, but I feel like there's lanes for him, and it just seems to be working. I mean, I feel like Caleb's not working. I feel like it's the run game that's working right now. Swift is RB13, and that's with a bye week already. And he's only playing like 60% of the snaps. I mean, so he's staying fresh. He's producing. I mean, it's working right now for Swift.
Remember somebody in the offseason picked Swift to be their number one sleeper? I think. Who was that person? Was that me? Was it me?
I don't know. It doesn't ring a bell.
We'd have to look at the tape.
I think he was one of my busts.
Every year he's never below RB24. He never finishes. No matter what happens that year, whether he gets injured, he gets traded to a new team, never finishes below there. Ben Johnson is the quarterback, offensive coordinator. Might as well be the quarterback because Caleb Williams, I agree, Jerome, is not cutting it. Ben Johnson comes to town. He's already familiar with his game. He's the most prolific running back on that team. Could only go up. Yes, there are struggles with the whole team the first few weeks, but they are hitting their stride when it comes to the ground game. I don't know if they'll fix the passing game. They'll definitely at some point throw it enough to where they'll get stats, but Caleb Williams, I don't think Caleb Williams is it. I don't, and I think it'll be Badgett time pretty soon in the next couple of weeks.
What? That's a big deal. But Alex, as you brought up your number one sleeper, I must bring up my number one sleeper, and that was Javonte Williams. So we could go review that tape. But I was very big on Javante myself, so I know, Jerome, that's your claim to fame. But I could also say, without a shadow of a doubt, and we can go back to the tape, that it was also my number one sleeper.
Yeah, I tried to look at the pod notes for that, and I think those were still blank. So I can see what episodes it was, but we didn't have our answers there. So
I keep a
we'll just have
spreadsheet,
to
sir. I
listen and
keep a
boost our
spreadsheet.
numbers.
Absolutely. Anything else on this matchup here? All right.
No?
Could hop over to a relatively decent game. I really don't know how I feel about this game, but it was the Eagles at the Vikings. Jerome and I picked the Vikings. Alex picked the Eagles. The Eagles did win this game. The Eagles do come alive when it counts, hold off the Vikings 28-22. Wentz has a very up and down day, and I'm not sure that he can hold off JJ McCarthy with an up and down day. But Addison and Jefferson sure do have big games, as do AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. But Barkley did get banged up in this game, and that's something that we'll need to keep an eye on throughout the week and see if it's a lingering injury or what's going on with him. But there was one pick six by Carson Wentz that was a very bad throw, followed by another interception, and I believe that was the difference in this game. So I'll let you boys break that down and argue it out between you two.
Well, I think Jalen Hurts proved he can sling the ball. And interestingly enough, when he did a play action or when he did a behind the center deep ball throw 4 times, all 4 were very successful. And every other throw was below par EPA. So I think he needs to be behind center more. I think he needs to throw deep more often than just 4 times in a game and get his wide receivers involved like they were in this game. I think that made a huge difference, and I think that'll open it up for the run game as well, because defenses will have to respect the wide receivers. And if he's behind center, they don't know if the play is going to be a run game or a pass game. So I think that will even up the offense. I don't know why you guys think Carson Wentz is a good quarterback, why you thought they'd beat the Eagles this week, but it was a very close matchup. So I will give y'all some credit here. I don't know if the Vikings will win many games the rest of the year. They've got a tough schedule. But it is interesting that Wentz is forming a really big connection with Addison. I know Jeff, before the season started, said Addison was going to be the number 2 target here over Hawkinson, and I went Hawkinson. This week it looks like Addison did the majority of the work for the Vikings.
Yeah, and I thought Addison would have a big day. I wanted to put it in a prop bet on that, but at last I did not get that in time.
I'm a Wentz guy. I think.
I'm a Wentz guy.
I mean, Wentz is throwing for 300 yards in this offense. JJ was throwing for 140. I mean, I just don't see how, and they're both throwing picks. I don't see how you could pick JJ in that scenario. I mean, the Vikings lost the game, but I don't think they would have even had a chance to win if JJ McCarthy was their QB. I mean, I think Wentz was the reason that they were still in it, and they even had a shot at the end. So, I mean, on the Eagles side, I mean, Devonta Smith, he's tough to start. I mean, he's had like 4 games with like 6 fantasy points or less, and then just blows up. I had him on the bench on one of my leagues. AJ Brown is hard to trust too, even though you kind of got to start him. But I feel like Devontae is really in that 50-50 zone. Barkley, I don't know. I feel like Barkley's issue is the O-line. I just feel like they're not opening up lanes for him. It's not as easy for him. It's kind of like, it feels like the offensive line that he had with the Giants, and it's just a struggle bus for him right now. Definitely seems like he's nicked up. He's obviously coming off of like a 500 season, which never seems to go well for a running back the following season. And it just seems to all be happening to him right now.
It's multiple, like the massive amount of touches last year, Madden curse, and then lack of creativity in the offense. He's getting worn down. and facing a lot of defenders in the box. That needs to change. They need to give some of the carries to Bigsby or the other running back on this roster. When it comes to Smith, I will say he's had 3 good games, 2 mediocre games, and 2 bad games. So far he's had more good games than bad games. But yes, when it's bad, it's 2 catches for 29 yards or 3 catches for 16. Not what you want to see, and that's largely because they've been focusing more on the run than anything else, and I think that they need to even out the offense. Because once you do, you get big games from your wide receivers, and it makes it really hard for people to beat you.
Absolutely. So when do you expect JJ to be back in the lineup there, Alex, at the latest?
We're going to talk about week 8 next after we finish this group of games. They already said he's starting week 8. I think he's not starting this week because it's a short week, not because they really want to stick with Wentz. I think they're leaning Wentz, but on the same token, if Wentz has a bad performance or throws a lot of picks, I think they will go back to JJ week 9, even against a tough team like Detroit. He played ball in Michigan. I think that would be a meaningful game for him. I do think he brings more with his legs than Wentz does. And I do think he has room for improvement when it comes to passing. But they're also getting Adam Jones back soon. They activated Adam Jones off of IR. So I do think they're going to focus back on running the ball more. And I think it'll work more with JJ than with Wentz.
I totally disagree. I mean, I don't see how you can say that. I mean, JJ isn't even the QB2 on the team right now. I mean, Max Brosmer, who I've never heard of in my life, is the QB2 right now ahead of JJ. I feel like they realized he needs more time.
And that might mean a if ever thing.
JJ's played 2 games this year, 2.5.
2.5 terrible
Is
games.
Is it 2.5 games?
Yeah, unwatchable games. Yeah.
So both of them have won 1 game, and they split the other win. And the other win was against the one they split was against Cincinnati, which I think they would have won regardless. So I don't think Wentz has proven he's necessarily better than JJ. I think he's proven he'll throw more yards, but I don't necessarily think real quarterback play. I think it's still up in the air. They're just different style quarterbacks. More traditional would be Wentz, more versatile would be JJ, and they both make mistakes. Wentz threw 3 interceptions against an Eagles defense that was really banged up.
Yeah, I feel like Wentz has kind of turned into this slinger type where, he's getting the benefit of some of those passes and their big shots or what have you, and he's throwing for 300 yards a couple of times, but, there's going to be a pick 6 in there too. And that's what Kevin O'Connell has got to decide, right? I mean, do I want that guy or do I maybe want the young kid? But I don't know. I mean, McCarthy isn't even more efficient. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and 3 fumbles in his 2 games. I mean, I just can't see how that's who they pick. I mean, I realize he's the future, and at some point they got to take some lumps there, maybe, but I don't know. I don't see how they pick JJ right now. I really don't. I wouldn't.
Well,
If it were me, I wouldn't.
Well, Addison wasn't there at all for any of JJ's starts. Jones got hurt, so I mean, there's a lot of things that could go differently. Now, I think if Wentz beats the Chargers and just has at least a mediocre day, but still beats the Chargers, I think Wentz will continue to be the starter on a week-to-week basis. But if they lose or Wentz throws 3 interceptions again, just looks really bad, they will switch to JJ. And I expect them, spoiler, I expect them to lose to the Chargers.
You're giving a spoiler. I was trying to see if you're picking first, and you do always pick that first game first, so. All right.
Speaking of
Anything
the
else
Chargers,
on this?
speaking of the Chargers, we have the Colts at the Chargers. It was a C battle this time. C battle. We all picked the Colts. Colts, in fact, won. Not only won, but dominated 38-24. Jeff, you want to share your notes for this matchup?
Yeah, me personally, I believe the Chargers need to invest in their run game at this point, and I do believe that needs to come via a trade. And I don't know what's available on the market just yet, but I know their run game's not working without Hampton, and I know they had a plan to go with Hampton and Najee going into the year, and that is all blown up in smoke. I believe Haskins is also injured and won't play this week either, so it sounds like they're down to one healthy back and not a great back at that. But the Chargers do have some positives here, and that is Gadsden's. He does appear to be becoming a special tight end, and that is saying something with the Tyler Warrens of the world and the Brock Bowers of the world. Does seem like he's becoming a go-to receiving option for Justin Herbert. And speaking of go-to targets here, 29 combined targets for Allen, who had 14, and McConkey, who had 13 targets in this game. Relegated Quentin Johnston to a third wheel as far as the receivers go, so Alex has to feel pretty good about that. And Jonathan Taylor, man, what can I say about his 2025 other than he should have really been in consideration for that first overall pick? He does score 3 rushing touchdowns in this one here.
If we just look at the stats, Abdullah was the better rusher and Jonathan Taylor was the better receiving back, which is really counterintuitive. I'm mostly being facetious here. I mean, it's technically true, but I mean, Abdullah only had 2 carries. Jonathan Taylor, he and Christian McCaffrey are battling for best back this year. Well, I mean, I guess you could throw Bijan in there too. Between those three, they have separated themselves from the other running backs in the
Well, if you're going
league.
to throw Bijan in there, you have to throw Gibbs in there.
Well, I think Gibbs is 4. Sorry.
He is.
The other 3 are better at this point, but Gibbs is just below them. And Cook started off hot, but the last 2 weeks not as much. And conveniently, the Bills lose if Cooks doesn't get 100 yards rushing. But with the Colts here, Alec Pierce will not go away. He looks like he's going to be a top 2 option in the receiving game, at least at wide out for the Colts for the foreseeable future. He may even get a contract extension this year. Who knows? But Tyler Warren, safe weekly start every single week at tight end. He's a top option at tight end. I don't think I've ever seen a tight end this efficient and this consistent to constantly put up double-digit points every single week. It feels like Pittman, I thought, was supposed to be banged up, and then all of a sudden looked like he was playing great, and I think he should have had a second touchdown that got taken away. But those 3 guys as receiving options are pretty great. Don't know what's going to happen with A.D. Mitchell or Josh Downs. They look like they're going to have to succeed if one of those other guys is out. But man, Jonathan Taylor's awesome. I think for the Chargers, you said that they need to acquire a new running back. I think they can make do, depending on how long Hampton's going to be out. They might be able to last until he's back and ready to play. No real timeline on him, though, so if it's going to be a really long time, then I would agree they have to bring somebody else in, because Haskins isn't it. Vidal is okay, but they are just as deep as the Colts at wide receiver with Keenan Allen, Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnston, Gadsden. I do think Harris is starting to earn more of a role, and I would love to see Trey Harris get involved more because I think he's technically a better receiver than Quentin Johnston. But Quentin Johnston he has found a way to either get a touchdown or a really deep pass or combine the 2 of them almost every week this year when he's playing. So it's hard to completely discount him. But to me, he's relegated to a deep threat now.
Colts are just steamrolling. I mean, it's fun to watch, and it's very surprising with Daniel Jones at the helm, but it's happening, and it's not. It doesn't feel like a fluke anymore. I mean, it's been 7 weeks or whatever. It seems like the expectation now. So Taylor's great. Tyler Warren's great. I mean, Tyler Warren is still the tight end 3 in fantasy behind Ferguson and
McBride, maybe?
McBride. Yeah. As far as the Chargers go, I mean, I think Vidal's got a shot at being a decent fill-in. But he was very good against a poor Miami defense 2 weeks ago, and was very poor against a good Colts defense this past week. So, I feel like start and sit decisions for him might be based on the opponent. It looks like Haskins is hurt. He's not going to play this week. So, I mean, maybe even more touches for Vidal. Gadsden's snap percentage has increased every week since week 1. So there's definitely momentum there, but I am not a believer in Gadsden. I feel like Will Dissly's still there. Tyler Conklin's still there. I've always been apprehensive about how many times the Chargers are going to pass the ball. And I just don't think I would be spending a ton of fab on a guy like Gadsden if I had it. The targets for Allen and McConkey are going up. The targets for QJ are going down. It just feels like that makes more sense after QJ was really hot at the beginning of the season. And it's starting to balance out and iron. I don't know. Chargers are in trouble. I mean, maybe Joe Alt comes back this week and helps fix the O-line and fix the run game and things get figured out. I mean, Chargers just got steamrolled by the Colts this week.
I think Joe Alt is already practicing, and so is their backup tackle, who is now a starting tackle because Staley's been out. So I think they do start to get things corrected there. I do think Gadsden is going to be the tight end going forward. I've never really thought highly of Disley as a starting caliber tight end. I do think Conklin could be, but now they're focusing more on him blocking than catching.
Chargers play the Vikings this week, who just held Barkley to 18 carries and 44 yards.
But everybody's doing that.
Yeah, true.
All right, are we done with this matchup? We ready to move on to the next one?
Absolutely. We can hop over to the next matchup here, and it is the Giants at the Broncos, the craziest matchup of the week. And I thought picking the Giants would have been a little bit of a bold move, and it looked like a good move for the majority of this game. However, the Broncos do come back, and they score 33 points in the fourth quarter, win 33-32, and Dart here kind of has an unbelievable day against the top defense, which should go to show folks that they shouldn't know too much about defenses when they're drafting them and get too attached to them and overpay for them and draft them early. But it looks like Wan'Dale Robinson is establishing himself as the top dog for Jackson Dart. And Bo Nix does get on track in the fourth quarter. Don't love the fact that he had 50 throws in this game. But they could really use a number 2 receiver to step up, but they did walk away with the win in this one, and Sean Payton threw a shot at Russell Wilson.
Well, I don't think he should be throwing shots at anyone because this matchup proved that the Broncos offense is broken until they have an up-tempo pace, and they're having the same issues that they had with Russ that they're having with Bo Nix, and that to me is indicative of the system being at fault and the play calling being at fault and not necessarily the quarterback. Right now, the reason why he threw 50 times, Jeff, is because 20 something of them were screen passes that were garbage, and he views that as an alternative to a run play, basically the same as a run play. Well, I think he needs to just actually call run plays and take the pressure off the quarterback. And I do think that they need a wide receiver, but I think they need a number 1 wide receiver, not a number 2, because I think Sutton is best as a number 2, a possession number 2. I think they need a really good number 1. I would classify like an Olave type player as a upgrade at the number 1 position for the Broncos if they ever went that way. I think Mims is a better wide receiver than Franklin. And I think Franklin should not be out targeting him or out snapping him. Ingram had a little bit better of a game, but not great. Pat Bryant, despite all the offseason hype and rookie hype, has not contributed anything to this team. And they did finally involve RJ Harvey a little bit, but I don't think enough. So I'm kind of frustrated with the Broncos offense. I think the defense was definitely a little off in this one, and the Giants played well to a degree, but Dart also wasn't perfect in this game either. But he's a rookie, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah, so, the Giants missed an extra point. Their last touchdown, they missed an extra point. They would have went up 33-30. Instead, they only went up 32-30 and lost the game, partially because of that. So I thought that was interesting. It's hard not to like what Dart is doing to this team, and Scattaboo and everybody else is kind of coming along with it. Wandale Robinson is coming along with it, primarily because of injuries. I mean, who else is there? Theo Johnson. He's really the only dog in town, which makes him the top dog. As far as Denver goes, I mean, I feel like Denver's big miss here was Ingram. I mean, I think he was supposed to be the glue. He was supposed to be the target hog. He was supposed to be the number 2 in the offense behind Sutton. And he's just sucked so far this year. And, it just seems to made it harder on Knicks to be successful. Mims is good. Franklin just seems like a skinny wide receiver 4. Who was his teammate at Oregon. And yeah, I mean, it does seem like they're missing a little bit, but they have some pieces and they have a good defense. I think Denver will hover around 500 over the course of the season.
We will see. We will see which one of these younger quarterbacks take off. But man, what a performance. One that we won't forget anytime soon. And it does feel like a kicker cost the Giants this game, but maybe you feel a little bit different on that one. But 2 extra points were missed, and they lost by 1 point. All right, we ready to hop over to the last few games here? All right. First one here is the Packers at the Cardinals. We all picked the Packers. The Packers won 33-27, which was a little bit surprising considering Jacoby Brissett started, which does raise the question if Jacoby Brissett should be the starter for the rest of the season. Trey McBride, one of his favorite targets in this game, had 2 touchdowns, which you love to see a top tight end score 2 touchdowns. And Josh Jacobs, questionable coming into this game, but has a very good day on the ground despite his questionable status. Do you guys believe that Kyler Murray should just get this job back when he comes back?
I think Brissett has been better than Murray. Honestly, I think the Cardinals could have won this game. I think Love has not been good either. So I would roll with Brissett.
I would roll with Brissett too. He seems to be running the offense better. He seems to be passing better. He's got more passing yards. I mean, Kyler's averaging 200 yards a game. I mean, Brissett's averaging close to 300 yards a game. So that's who I want, right? That's the same reason I like Wentz over, on the Green Bay side of things. Parsons finally shows up with 3 sacks. I feel like he's starting to heat up a little bit after being quiet and getting acclimated to his new team and his new setup. Jacobs hung in there. I was nervous about the calf. I was nervous about him pushing it, but he seemed to get through the game unscathed and hopefully can put that issue behind him before it turns into something bigger. Jacobs appears to be a real leader on this team. He told the guys that this injury wasn't going to hold him back, and he wanted to be there for them, and he was going to give it his all for them. I just feel like that's the kind of stuff that makes a locker room and makes a championship team and a championship culture. And, Jacobs seems to be bringing it right now to Green Bay. And, I mean, I think they got to be considered one of the top, 3 teams in the NFC.
Yeah. They weren't in my Super Bowl bubble, but I can agree with that. They feel like they're missing something on offense, though. And I don't know if it's Love or the pass catchers or just I never feel great about their passing game.
No, I don't. I still don't think they have a true number 1 wide receiver. I don't think Golden is that guy. Yeah, he's a rookie, but he just seems like the same thing again. Yes, he's a first round pick, barely, but it just seems like he is a healthy version of Christian Watson and not really what fans wanted him to be. So there's that, and I just really don't believe in Jordan Love for the long term. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. I think he's has a favorable situation, and I think if you put CJ Stroud on the Packers, I think CJ Stroud would be having a better year than Jordan Love. I think he'd be upright for the most part.
I had to think about what you were saying, but I mean, I can't agree or disagree with you right now because obviously that's not a thing.
Love definitely has the benefit of a more balanced offense. I think he has the benefit of a deeper core of receivers, deeper tight ends, just the whole thing surrounding him, better O line. So, yeah, I mean, he's got that going for him for sure. Though the domination, just, I mean, you say something's missing. I mean, is it like the domination that makes you feel that way? I don't know. But, the lack of a stud wide receiver one maybe makes you feel less confident in that. I mean, that I could see.
Yeah, it feels like they have a bunch of number 2s and 3s, and their best receiver, I believe, is on IR right now. Great. Any other Packer love or Cardinal hate? They did lose a lot of games by less than 7 points, and they were leading in the fourth quarter, I think, in the last 4 or 5 games. So interesting there that they are able to get leads. They're just not able to keep them.
Well, I think it's interesting that there's now chatter on both of these head coaches potentially being on the hot seat. There's a lot of Packers fans unsatisfied with LaFleur, saying he's not maximizing what this team should be.
Did
And
see
then
that.
for the Cardinals, and then for the Cardinals, it kind of seems like similar to the Texans in a regard that they can't hire an offensive coordinator, and this coach is just more emotional. So he is not a happy camper right now. So we'll see how both of these track. I don't know.
Yeah, I did list the coaches that are on the hot seat for me today to you. And for me, it is D'Amico Ryan, which is not what you want to hear. Pete Carroll, Mike McDaniel, Aaron Glenn, and Jonathan Gannon in the NFC. I only have 5 coaches on the hot seat right now. I think everybody else has at least put something positive out there.
I think McDaniel needs fired, and I think Aaron Glenn needs fired.
Absolutely.
I think Joe Flacco has saved the Bengals coach.
He's not on my list right now because of that. Like, it worked for better or for worse. But I'm really disappointed what Pete Carroll's done. I feel like the Raiders have regressed from last year. He should be on the hot seat. I don't think he gets fired in year 1, but dang, you can't regress like that in year 1 when you're a big name hire and you pull in your own quarterback for a 3rd round pick as well. So everything for them has went wrong.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the 3rd round pick, but I am worried that Chip Kelly isn't working too, at offensive coordinator.
Well, maybe he's not meant for the NFL.
Could be. That's entirely possible.
All right.
All right. Let's move on to our second sea battle of the week between the Commanders and the Cowboys. Cowboys doubled the Commanders' score, and lucky for us, we all picked the Cowboys to win this one, so we all got it right. Jeff, were you surprised by this outcome, though, even though we picked him?
No, of course not, because Daniels got injured again in this one. Doesn't seem to be too serious, but when Bill Krosky Merritt has 33 yards on 13 carries against a Cowboys defense that gave up 200 yards to Rico Dowdle, I mean, there's a lot of pieces here that add up to not a lot of points for the Commanders and a good day overall for the Cowboys. And Dak keeps up his ridiculous pace. And same with Javonte Williams, which we've already talked about ad nauseum on this podcast. But CeeDee Lamb's back and Pickens stays involved, and same thing with Ferguson staying involved. So they have a fully humming offense, which is pretty crazy considering Brian Schottenheimer was the hire this year. But right now, Jaden Daniels is throwing to rookies and second-year receivers because all of his veteran weapons are out or missing. And obviously, Zach Ertz is still in the lineup as well. But it all adds up for me.
So is there no room in the target 5 for Turpin or Tolbert for the Cowboys because they each only got one catch and very little targets. 3 targets
Yep.
combined.
The target pie has already been eaten. There might be one slice of pie left in the fridge, but they got to split it.
Yeah, there's no room. I mean, Dallas is loaded with weapons. Dallas has scored the most 40-point games of any team in the NFL this season. It just doesn't seem like that's going to stop. As far as the Commanders go, I mean, they're banged up at wide receiver. I feel like it's starting to show. Bill, I mean, he's the RB 24 in fantasy right now. I mean, his yards per carry is tanking. I feel like the shine is starting to wear off. I mean, nobody there is really going to take his place per se outside of a trade. I don't think Chris Rodriguez is going to do it. But I don't know. It's just like you said. I mean, this was the game where the Washington offense should get right. This should be a 40-40 game. And it didn't happen, partially because Daniels got hurt, but the other part, I'm not sure where they're at.
I don't know about you guys. Did you guys see the CD Lamb touchdown in this game? That was the funniest touchdown to me because he burned the Washington defense by like 10, 15 yards. Dak underthrows the crap out of him. Defenders catch up. They just bounce off of him, and he still ends up running for a touchdown. It was crazy. So that was fun seeing CD back and CD productive and CD getting a touchdown. That's great for fantasy. Pickens did have one of his better catches of the year down the sideline on a really nice throw from Dak. So Dak underthrew CD, but perfect strike to Pickens. I thought those are memorable moments of the game, and I do think one issue for Washington, as y'all have pointed out, Bill Jakrowski Merritt, I don't think he adds much to the passing game. So I think when he's in, teams recognize he's only going to run the ball, and they'll just game plan accordingly, and that's why his production's starting to diminish and his efficiency starting to diminish. So that's something for the Commanders to have to adjust going forward.
I agree. And they'll get healthier. They'll be better days ahead for the Commanders. And hopefully, I mean, they need to get younger at their pass catching options as well. So not younger as in giving rookies and first year wideouts the keys to the car here, but more like going out and getting a superstar for Jaden Daniels.
All right, let's wrap up the last few games here. We have the Falcons at the 49ers. We all went 49ers, and the 49ers did win a very seemingly close game here, even though the score was a little bit different. Jeff, what were your takeaways from this matchup?
So Mac Jones leads another 49ers victory 20-10, and the 49ers defense actually shows up while most of their stars appear to be out right now. Also, Christian McCaffrey has a 200-yard day. I feel like he was one of 2 guys to have 200-yard days this week, and he had 2 touchdowns as well. And Mr. Bijan Robinson came back down to earth, and Kyle Pitts had 7 catches, so he does appear to be involved a little bit more, but still not scoring a ton in fantasy.
I have no idea how the 49ers are doing it. I mean, I really don't. With their injuries, it's just crazy that they keep winning, in my opinion. I mean, it feels like everybody is new except for CMC. As far as the Falcons go, I mean, the Falcons dominate the Bills last week and then score 10 points against, the Niners with backups everywhere. It's just, I don't know. It's why we watch, but I just can't make sense of it.
I guess it's just coaching. Shanahan on the offense and Saleh on the defense. I think they're a great pairing, and they're keeping this team rolling. And McCaffrey, as long as Christian McCaffrey's healthy, they have a chance.
He's the only one that's healthy.
So,
Yeah.
All right.
not much
Mac
for me to
Jones,
add here.
Mac Jones should keep the job, right?
I don't think he's been good enough, to be honest. Like, he's been good as a fill-in, but he's struggled the last couple games.
Hey, the guy's got one bad wheel, and he's been doing this. All right, I digress. You're not going to move off Purdy when he just got paid very purtily. But we got the Buccaneers at the Lions. Alex and I both picked the Lions. Jerome went the Buccaneers. The Lions beat the Buccaneers in this one 24-9. And the Buccaneers aren't full strength by any means right now, and it's really sad. It looks like Mike Evans is going to be out for most of the rest of this regular season, but they could get him back towards the stretch. And Baker wasn't able to get much going after Evans goes down. And I did notice Gibbs and St. Brown are the legitimate stars on this offense. And I don't know if that means that Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, and David Montgomery are just guys now, or if they're just being underutilized. But the name of the game here is to win, and that's what the Lions did. So, Alex.
I'm not going to say anything negative against David Montgomery because I want to sell him to Jerome, but
Sell.
no, I honestly think it's kind of been like a flip-flop thing for Gibbs and Montgomery. It seems like every other game, one of them goes off. I think it's now going more towards Gibbs, though. So now I think it's kind of more 2-1 to Gibbs, but Montgomery will still be usable and still has usage. I'm more concerned with the receiving options for Detroit right now because outside of St. Brown, I mean, we didn't get anything from Laporta. We didn't get anything from Jameson Williams. We didn't get anything from the best wide receiver on the team, Isaac Tesla. You know, you want more out of your best options, and they're just not giving him the ball enough.
Oh,
But,
Tesla.
I mean, that's the problem they have is they have maybe the most weapons of any team. But on the other hand, the Bucks can compete with them more when they're fully healthy. Unfortunately for them, I mean, Egbuka was playing with supposedly a bad hammy. Evans got knocked out relatively early. Godwin's missed most of the year so far. Bucky Irving is still out. So the offensive line's banged up. And even still, I mean, they competed a little bit in this game, but ultimately Detroit took it. Detroit was too much.
Yeah, you stole my thunder a little bit there. You know, Mayfield, he's just a dog, right? I mean,
Yep.
he's become such a good leader, and this team is winning, and guys are getting injured all over, and they just keep winning, and it's on he's carrying them on his back, and it's been really fun. But it just feels like it caught up to them this week with a good team, you know, the letdown with Evans on top of the other guys being hurt or out at running back, at wide receiver, at O-line. I mean, I just don't think they have enough to beat teams that are, you know, the cream of the crop right now, like the Lions.
Yeah, I think the Bucks though will come back a little bit differently come the postseason time. So I do think that they're gonna walk right into the postseason. Don't see a competition from their division. All right. Anything else to add to this matchup? All right. We have the last matchup, and I'm gonna let Jerome break it down because this is Jerome's or not Jerome. I'm gonna let Alex break this down. Alex, sorry, I was looking at Jerome. Alex, I'm gonna let you break it down. This is your game.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a defensive battle either way, no matter how it turned out. And for the most part, that's what it was. Both teams made a lot of errors. The Texans, I think, technically won the turnover battle, but still lost. And they're the team that has done it the most, I think, at this point in history. That they keep winning the turnover battle and they keep losing. And that's largely on rookie play caller Nick Caley, who has the worst play calling I've ever seen. He runs when he should pass, he passes when he should run. He had 7 or 8 short yardage moments that they should have QB sneaked, or they should have ran with their power back Nick Chubb. They didn't do any of those things. They passed on most of them, which CJ took for a sack, or they lost yards on, or got stuffed. Yeah, everything went bad. CJ looked terrible on his deep throws, which he overthrew almost every time. The team insists on putting Braxton Berrios in over their rookie playmakers, which Jalen Noel, whenever he was out there, made a big play on the field, and instead they threw pure special teamer Braxton Berrios out there. They even put Dario Bongowale back out there, even though he sucks. I will say, on positive news, the defense looked great, and Dalton Schultz had probably the best game I've seen in a long time. But yeah, not much good to say about the Texans. Also, D'Amico Ryans had some terrible game management issues, and on the last couple chances to potentially tie or win the game, the Texans kicker, Kaimi Fairbairn, did not kick the ball out of bounds. He kicked it returnable, so they lost the 2-minute warning timeout, which they needed. And then even when they almost got the ball back with 10 or 15 seconds left, defensive tackle jumped on the pile, got a penalty, which gave Seattle the first down. So yeah, not a fun game to watch if you're a Texans fan. And I think Seattle was pretty beatable this game. Jackson Smith and Jigba was about the only thing that went right for Seattle.
Hey, don't mess with Charbonnet, the goal line back here.
I think Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker's roles are backwards. I think Charbonnet at this point should be the change of pace back, and Kenneth Walker should be the goal line back, but maybe I'm just crazy.
I feel like it's not often that the pass catching back is also the goal line back, right? I mean, usually I feel like those would be two different guys, but in this scenario, they're Charbonnet. Seahawks were feeding JSN. That's their recipe right now. That's working in the pass game. Texans, I feel like Stroud is inching better versus where he was in week 1. But, I mean, now Nico's hurt again. Supporting cast stinks. The offensive line stinks. I mean, I just don't see a way out for Houston right now. I think they're going to have a tough year. I mean, their defense is very good. I mean, I think in fantasy, they're like the number 1 fantasy defense for wide receivers to go against. But I mean, it's not enough to get them wins right now.
What's funny is their offensive line to me isn't even the top 3 reason why they lost last night. Because I think Kaylee, number 1, I think Stroud, number 2, and D'Amico Ryan's game management, number 3. I think those are the top 3. I think the offensive line did enough pass blocking, surprisingly enough. Should have kept them in the game, but run blocking, they got nowhere. They got nowhere on run blocking.
All right. Anything else on this matchup? I know you're very upset here.
That's all I've been doing on Twitter all day, or X all day, is commenting on basically Texan stuff. So mad.
All right. Well, we need to redirect your attention here to week 8 as we get ready for week 8 here. And it is by Mageddon. And the Cardinals, the Lions, the Jaguars, the Raiders, the Rams, and the Seahawks, 6 teams are on bye. So everybody get your fantasy lineup set because this is pretty crazy. And I think this is the only one with 6 this year. So a little bit of a blessing that it's happening in week 8 and getting it done and over with and out of the way. But as I mentioned, the first Thursday night game here is the Vikings at the Chargers. This looks like the Wentz versus Herbert Bowl and there's a bunch of injuries going into this matchup. Alex, who are you taking in this matchup? I believe you already announced it.
Yeah, I'm going the Chargers. I believe in Herbert more than Wentz, and I believe in the Chargers at home more than the Vikings, who are on the road here.
Yeah, the Chargers' home field advantage is less than nothing at this point. I'm going to go the Chargers begrudgingly in this one. This is my 2 sons battling each other. So I don't know which son to pick. So I'm just going to go with the home team and the Chargers here.
It's Vikings for me, without a doubt. And I'm very disappointed in you, Jeff.
Yeah, I had the Vikings before, and then they were questioning if Wentz would even be able to start. And yep, I'm gonna go with the Chargers here. But the next matchup here is Andy Dalton versus the Buffalo Bills, and they're hosting the Buffalo Bills. They're undefeated at home, but I'm still gonna take the Bills.
Yeah, If the Bills lose this one, then there should be some serious questions on the offense and defensive sides here, depending on how the game goes. But I have to take the Bills. I can't picture them losing to the Panthers, and I don't know what I would say if they did.
Yeah, I'm picking the Bills in this one. I mean, there's not even much commentary there. I think it's Bills all the way.
The Red Rifle. Come on.
You know, there was a stat that came out. Was it Mike Sando did a betrayal chart, and it was what did the quarterback basically carry the team with a bad defense, or did a bad defense carry the quarterback? And Andy Dalton historically has been on the bad side of that, so I just found that interesting. He's played with better defenses than the quarterback production he put up.
Right. Bears at Ravens are the next matchup. Alex, who are you taking in this one here? Lamar questionable status, but I assume he'll play.
I don't know if Lamar plays. I think if Lamar plays, you got to go Ravens. If Lamar doesn't play, I don't think you can trust the Ravens to win a game. That's just the way their year's shaking out. So as of this point, he hasn't practiced this week so far. So I am going with the Bears.
Boy,
I will flip it if Lamar's playing.
I'm going to go the Ravens.
I'm going to pick the Bears, and I will not flip it if Lamar plays. I think their defense is just so bad. And I think the Bears are going to run on them, and I think they're going to minimize Lamar coming back. I could see him maybe being a little rusty or something, and I think the Bears win.
Wow, Jerome's making some bold calls for the first few matchups here.
He's just bold. All right.
Bold
Next
Jerome.
matchup is Browns at Patriots. And I'm up first here. And I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people think it's going to be. I think the Browns defense is going to give the Patriots fit. But I don't see the Browns offense scoring more than the Patriots offense. So give me the Patriots in this one.
I'm also going the Patriots in this one. I think the Patriots defense is better than the Browns offense, and I think the Patriots offense and Browns defense are fairly close. So Patriots home field advantage hasn't been very good either, but the Browns are 0-3 on the road.
They did lose to the Raiders there.
The Browns defense might be good, but I am betting on the Patriots and the QB3 in fantasy, Drake May, to find a way to get a win for the Pats.
He
I just
was a
got
guy I
chills
was
when you said QB3. I was just ooh.
I was trying to get him in dynasty leagues before the year started, but not successful, unfortunately.
I believe Drake May was one of my sleepers too, but I didn't think he would be, top 3. I don't think. So I'm enjoying it. I have him in more leagues than I don't.
All right, Alex, two teams that you're not very fond of here, the Dolphins at the Falcons. Who you got?
Well, I like it when you slip in an easy one for me. I'm going to go the Falcons. They're way better at home than they are away. They're a better team than the Dolphins are right now. I mean, on paper, equivalent talent, but right now, on the field, Falcons are much better, and I feel like the Falcons' pass rush is going to destroy Tua on the field if they're actually starting him.
Absolutely. And give me the Falcons as well. And Jerome, you are up.
I think it's going to be the Falcons because the offense is going to control the game against the Miami defense. I thought about picking the Dolphins in this one, but I'm going to save that pick for when McDaniel is fired. I think when they get a new coach in, that's when I'm going to pick the Dolphins.
I think Tyler Algier is going to be a great bye week filler for teams that either have an injured player or guy on bye week at running back. Because I think they're going to run over Miami.
Absolutely. All right, next game is a rematch of a game that we saw 2 weeks ago, and it's the Giants at the Eagles this time. And can Jackson Dart do it again? And my gut tells me he cannot do it again, and I'm going to go the Eagles in this matchup.
I'm also going to go the Eagles in this matchup, and I would like to formally protest division rematches being this close together. We got to do better. Everyone should be at the beginning and at the end. Just do it that way.
I think the Giants are going to win. I think the
Frat
Giants are
out.
going to win. I think the Eagles are going to come back down to earth, and I think the Giants are going to be really ticked off that they let that game go against the Broncos. I think Dart's going to clean up those turnovers, and I don't know. This just got this team just has the feel of a team that will respond.
A frat out?
And no, not that feel. A response feel. And I'm gonna bet on the Giants to flip this.
I think it's going to be entirely dependent on Eagles play, to be honest with you. But which Eagles team are we going to see? If it's the bad Eagles, then I think the Giants are a more competitive team than I gave them credit for, even without Neighbors. So, I mean, I could totally see the Giants winning. I'm still sticking with the Eagles.
All right. The other New York team, the Jets at the Bengals, is our next matchup. And this seems like it's going to be Joe Flacco versus Tyrod Taylor, another older quarterback matchup. Alex, who are you taking in this one?
It's hard for me to pick the Jets, and as we discussed with the Week 7 lineups, you just can't pick the J teams anymore. So I'm going Bengals with Old Man River at quarterback, basically.
Philip Rivers isn't playing.
I didn't say Old Man Rivers, I said Old Man River.
Give me the Bengals as well, but that'll knot their record up at 4-4, which is pretty crazy at this point in the season.
I think the Bengals win. If I've got a bold take, I think T. Higgins scores more fantasy points than Jamar Chase this game.
Is that the Sauce effect?
Well, Sauce was a little hurt
Saw that.
last game, I think. But sauce or no sauce, I don't know. I just think it's going to be a Higgins game.
I think we should have a segment each week where Jerome gives his bold takes. Then we should have a segment where Jeff says how he's wrong, and a segment how I say I'm right. I think we've got it all covered.
All right. We have a little 49ers reunion here in this next matchup. The 49ers at the Texans. And in this matchup, I'm going to go the 49ers, regardless of the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I would like to go Texans, but I can't trust them. I mean, they should theoretically have a chance, but I can't trust them. So I'm going to go 49ers as well.
I'm going to go with the Niners as well.
Wow, clean sweep. All right, next matchup here is the Buccaneers at the Saints. The Buccaneers are not anywhere near 100%. We'll see if they get Bucky and Godwin back. But Alex, you are up.
I'm going to go Buccaneers. I mean, the Saints, they're scrappy each week, but they're just outclassed. They don't have the roster talent to compete. So even with the banged up Buccaneers squad, I'm going with them because, as Jerome said, Baker's a dog, and it's hard to go against him. And Egbuka is my favorite rookie wide receiver this year, so a lot of reasons to root for Buccaneers.
Well, I agree with that, and I am going to go the Buccaneers as well. I will play devil's advocate if they can't score them more than 9 points in this game, which they scored against third string defensive backs for the Lions, then this is going to be a very tough matchup for the Buccaneers.
I'm picking the Bucks too. I think they find a way to win, even if it's close.
I think it'll be close.
I do want to say about the previous matchup, the Texans did compete pretty hard with the Buccaneers and the Rams, but so give them some credit.
They only lost by 8 to the Seahawks, so 1-score game. All right, next.
It should have been 10. Actually, no, 9, because Seahawks should have had a safety, and Texans should have gone for 1 instead of 2 in the third quarter. Don't know what they're thinking, but yeah, either way.
All right, this next matchup has a chance to be a 70-75 point game. It's the Cowboys at the Broncos. And I'm going to go the Cowboys in this matchup because I believe in their offense right now, and I think that they will hand it to the Broncos defense, but I also think the Broncos offense will score on the Cowboys defense as well.
I'm going to keep going Broncos at home. I mean, I think that's going to be a reliable thing is Broncos win at home. Yes, their defense struggled a little bit more than usual this past week, and Their offense didn't score until the fourth quarter, but Cowboys defense is much softer, and it's just something different to play in Denver. And the Cowboys, all three of their losses are on the road.
I think offense outweighs defense in this matchup, so I'm picking the Cowboys.
You guys do not respect the defense. Just don't.
You respect it too much.
Defense wins championships. It's
In the
proven
50s.
almost every year.
In the 50s. That's how many points we'll be getting by each team here, 50s. But yeah, it's interesting. The Broncos defense, hopefully they show up to play in this one. But I do think that they're a little bit tired considering they went London, home game. So they have to be a little bit exhausted.
So they played at home this past week. They're playing at home this week. They should be more rested this week. They get a
very
chance to
purposely
recover.
didn't take the bye. Yeah. Very purposely didn't take the bye yet. All right. Titans at the Colts is our next matchup. And Alex, you are up.
Oh, well, I'm going to obviously take the best team in the AFC South, the Tennessee Titans, over the Colts. No, definitely going Colts. I can't foresee the Titans getting another win until they fix something.
This will be the Colts' 7th win on the season. Is that right? Or is it?
Yes, it is. I do want to point out that they have either played bad teams or banged up teams at the right time. And I do think that they're coming up shortly to a much tougher schedule. So I expect them to start losing games. I do still expect them to win the AFC South, though, regardless.
I saw your post on X about that as well. You were on a roll today.
You know, you gotta make comments and posts to get followers, unless you want to pay for them, and I don't want to pay for them. I'm having twins soon, so I need that money.
Well, you look good for having twins real soon.
Thank you. I've only put on so much sympathy weight.
All right, Jerome, who are you taking in this one?
So Alex took the best team in the AFC South, Indianapolis Colts. I'm taking the best team in the AFC, period, the Indianapolis Colts, to beat the Titans.
Alex isn't going to welcome you back. That's blasphemy. It's the Texans. We got into such an argument before the season that I was like, the Texans are going to go 8-9 and barely make the playoffs. You're like, oh my God, they have the worst division. How do you have them go at 8?
Daniel Jones is overperforming.
Indiana Jones, yeah.
The Texans' offense is not improved from the play calling standpoint, which I don't know how that's possible, except Kaylee's going the Patriot way instead of the Rams way. It's very frustrating. Very
the
frustrating.
Patriot way won a lot of Super Bowls.
Yeah, a decade ago. It's old now. Might as well be 100 years old.
Hey, if the playoffs started today, Colts would be the 1 seed.
Yes, they would. It's week 7 out of 18. Come on, man. Come on, Jerome.
Come on, man.
Make the bold take. Pick the Titans. Come on, Jerome.
No, not this game.
All right. We got 2 matchups left. Mr. Jeffrey, we've got the Packers at the Steelers, the Aaron Rodgers Bowl. Who do you have?
So I like the Packers, and I hear what you guys are saying on the Packers, but nobody plays with spite better than Aaron Rodgers, and give me Aaron Rodgers in this matchup in the Steelers. I'm
going to let Jerome go next because it is his hometown matchup.
This is my lock of the week. I think the Steelers win. I think it's a no-brainer. I think the team rallies around Rodgers. I think the Steeler crowd is going to be a factor at home, and I think it's a close game, but it comes down to like a Boswell field goal or something like that, and I think the Steelers win.
Do you like Boswell?
I think the Packers are a much better team than the Steelers are. I think the Steelers have gone through a cupcake schedule, and I think we saw how bad the Steelers defense was this past week, and I think that this might be the game that Matthew Golden breaks out. So I'm going Packers.
All right, you're the odd man out there.
Also the correct one.
We will see. You did get one of the 2 primetime games wrong. Each of you got one of the primetime games wrong last week.
I feel like I get every Thursday game wrong now, which I mean, it's good because it means it's not boring, predictable games like Thursday used to be.
Thursday's fun. I've been having fun watching these games.
Sunday morning is boring and predictable.
Yes, that's true.
That's when you throw Red Zone on and place a couple prop bets and call it a day. But I will say Prime Vision on Thursday nights has been my go-to lately. You get to watch from behind the quarterback, and you get to watch when players are wide open and the quarterback's missing them. It's a very crazy view on Prime.
I like all the highlights, like all the circles and highlights around the players to make it really easy to see in their names, everything.
Yep, it's like Madden.
It's so much easier to follow instead of squinting and like, is that number 23 or is it 25, 28? Like, who is that?
It's a fantasy player's dream to watch the Prime cast.
If
Prime
they could do that
Vision.
with Red Zone, that'd be cool. I think that'd be really cool.
But it makes it so easy as a fantasy player to watch everything. It's so nice. All right, so we move over to the Monday night matchup. It's the Commanders at the Chiefs. Alex, take it away here with the last game of the week.
I don't know how anyone can pick the Commanders in this matchup because Jaden Daniels got hurt again. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how serious it is at this point, but also the Chiefs are rolling. So I'm going with the Chiefs, and I think they should win it pretty handedly at home in Arrowhead primetime.
I do not know how someone can pick against the Chiefs the rest of the season, with the exception of maybe the Bills game. And so I'm going to go the Chiefs in this matchup. They are playing angry right now.
I am picking against the Commanders
A classic.
and going with the Chiefs.
Right. Dang.
I like how you framed it like you were gonna do something different.
It was a bold pick.
Yeah. All right. Do we have anything else to add here?
No, kind of a crazy week, and I expect a few trades to start picking up in the next 7 days.
Carson Wentz for president.
What's for you guys? I don't know what it is. I think you have to be a certain age to appreciate Wentz, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
You
Anyway.
youngins over there with no hair.
Anyway, so this is just a reminder for our fans out there. Next week is my last week on the podcast until my paternity leave. So I'll be out for a few weeks after next week. So Jerome will be full-time filling in, throwing his bold takes left and right. You got to prove Jeff wrong on a weekly basis. That's key, Jerome.
That's easy.
I'll give him a lot of crap about his takes, so don't worry.
Yeah, we gotta figure out the software hand over as well because I couldn't figure that out when I was peeking around. But anyway, we'll get that straightened out, and that does it for this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you all for downloading and listening to this episode, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave us a comment and share the show. Every little bit helps.
You can find us on all podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy and with our handle at N2E Fantasy on all social media platforms. Please join our community and give us a follow. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and remember, it's truly never too early for fantasy football. Thank you again.
Hi, everybody.